It was Christmas Day, a time for celebration, joy, and togetherness. The streets were lit with festive lights, and people gathered in warm spaces to enjoy the holiday spirit. In one corner of a bustling bar, a black woman sat alone, quietly sipping her drink, blending into the lively atmosphere. Unbeknownst to those around her, she carried a secret that no one would guess just by looking at her. She wasn't just an ordinary woman enjoying her Christmas evening. She was a Navy SEAL, a highly trained elite who had faced challenges most people couldn't imagine. As the night went on, an unsuspecting man, emboldened by alcohol and arrogance, made his way toward her. He didn't know who she was. He didn't care. His intentions were anything but noble, but little did he realize he was walking into a situation that would change his life forever. The bar was alive with the holiday spirit. Strings of twinkling lights hung across the ceiling, and garlands adorned the walls. A large Christmas tree stood near the entrance, its ornaments sparkling in the warm glow of fairy lights. The sound of laughter, clinking glasses, and holiday music filled the air. People were in high spirits, enjoying the night with friends and strangers alike. Amid the cheerful crowd sat a striking black woman, dressed simply but with an air of quiet confidence. She was seated at the corner of the bar, sipping her drink as she observed the lively room. Her calm presence contrasted sharply with the energy around her, but it didn't make her any less noticeable. At the other end of the bar was a man, loud, brash, and clearly enjoying more than his fair share of drinks. His laughter boomed as he joked with his friends, his eyes occasionally scanning the room. It didn't take long for his gaze to land on the woman. He grinned, nudged his friends, and began making his way over, his confidence growing with every step. What he saw was an unassuming woman alone in a bar on Christmas night. What he didn't see was the strength, skill, and determination she carried within her, a combination that would soon leave him stunned. With a cocky grin and a swagger in his step, the man closed the distance between himself and the woman. His friends stayed back, watching with amusement, as if they knew this was just another one of his drunken stunts. "Hey there, gorgeous," he slurred, leaning casually on the bar next to her. The strong scent of alcohol followed him, his words laced with false charm. "What's a pretty thing like you doing here, all alone on Christmas?" The woman barely glanced at him, her calm eyes scanning his face briefly before returning to her drink. She said nothing, her expression steady and uninterested. But the man wasn't one to take silence as a rejection. Instead, he saw it as a challenge. He leaned in closer, his tone dropping to what he probably thought was seductive. "Come on, don't be shy. Let me buy you another drink. Or better yet," he smirked, his voice now dripping with entitlement, "we could head somewhere more private. You and me." Still, she didn't respond. Her hand gently set her glass back on the bar, her posture relaxed and her expression unchanged. It was as though his words didn't reach her, or perhaps they did, and she was simply calculating her next move. The man, frustrated by her lack of reaction, became bolder. His hand inched toward her arm, but just as he was about to make contact, she finally spoke, her voice steady and low, like the calm before a storm. "Don't," she said, her tone sharp enough to cut through the noise of the bar. For a moment, the man hesitated, caught off guard by the firmness in her voice. But then, with a chuckle, he dismissed it. Little did he know, he was about to regret every decision he'd made that night. The man chuckled, clearly amused by what he perceived as an empty warning. He leaned in even closer, his arrogance on full display. "Relax, sweetheart," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "No need to get all serious. It's Christmas, after all." The woman slowly turned to face him, her eyes locking onto his. For the first time that night, her expression shifted, calm and composed, yes, but now carrying an edge that was impossible to ignore. "You really don't want to do this," she said, her voice steady and firm, carrying a quiet authority that sent a chill down his spine. The man froze, caught off guard by the change in her demeanor, but his bravado wasn't gone yet. "Oh yeah," he said, laughing nervously. "And what are you going to do about it?" What happened next wasn't loud or flashy. The woman didn't shout or make a scene. She simply leaned in, her voice low enough that only he could hear. "I'm a Navy SEAL," she said, her tone calm but unmistakably serious. "I've been trained to take down men twice your size. If you don't back off right now, you'll find out exactly what that means." The man blinked, his smirk faltering as the weight of her words sank in. For a moment, he seemed to search her face, looking for any hint that she might be joking. But there was none. Her calm confidence, the steady gaze that never wavered, it was all real. Shock spread across his face as the reality of the situation hit him. The man who had been so full of himself moments ago now looked like he wanted to disappear. The tables had turned completely, and the power he thought he had was gone, replaced by a growing sense of fear. He stammered, trying to find the words to recover, but it was no use. The woman had made it clear. She wasn't someone to mess with. The man hesitated for a moment, his shock beginning to fade as his drunken arrogance tried to claw its way back. "Navy SEAL, he said, smirking again, though now with less confidence. "You don't look the part, but let's see what you've got." He reached for her arm, his move bold but clumsy. Before he could even touch her, she reacted. In a flash, her hand shot out, gripping his wrist with precision and strength. The entire motion was smooth, controlled, and over before anyone around them even noticed. "Stop," she said, her voice calm but carrying an edge that made him freeze. The man's smirk vanished, replaced by a wince as she applied subtle but undeniable pressure to his wrist. His other hand instinctively came up, but before he could do anything, she shifted. Using her free hand, she executed a quick, clean movement that brought him to his knees, his arm twisted just enough to keep him immobilized without causing serious harm. The people nearby started to notice the commotion, their conversations pausing as they turned to look. The man, now visibly in pain, looked up at her with wide eyes. "Let go," he muttered, trying to sound tough, but his voice betrayed his panic. She leaned down slightly, meeting his gaze with unflinching calm. "This is me being gentle," she said. "If you keep pushing, I won't be." The realization hit him like a brick wall. She wasn't bluffing. The power dynamic had shifted completely, and he was no longer in control, if he ever had been. Every bit of his earlier arrogance had drained away, replaced by fear and humiliation. She released him with a firm push, and he scrambled backward, rubbing his wrist and looking at her as though she were a ghost. The bar was silent now, all eyes on the scene that had unfolded in seconds. The man didn't say another word. He didn't need to. His mistake was clear, and so was her message. Some battles are better left unfought. For a moment, the bar was utterly silent, the festive music still playing faintly in the background. Then came the murmurs, low whispers spreading through the crowd as everyone tried to piece together what they had just witnessed. "She took him down like it was nothing," someone said, their tone filled with awe. "That guy had it coming," another added, shaking their head. The man, now red-faced and humiliated, scrambled to his feet. He muttered something under his breath, avoiding eye contact with everyone as he stumbled toward the exit. No one stopped him, though a few patrons exchanged knowing looks, their disdain for his actions clear. Meanwhile, the woman straightened her jacket, her expression calm and unaffected, as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. She signaled to the bartender, who nodded in quiet understanding. No one questioned her. They only watched with a mix of respect and curiosity. Before leaving, the bar manager quietly approached her. "Do you want us to call the cops?" they asked. She shook her head with a faint smile. "If he tries anything again, he'll face more than just me." But it turned out she didn't have to press charges. A few patrons had already recorded parts of the incident on their phones. By the time the man made it outside, someone had contacted the authorities. Witness statements and footage ensured he wouldn't walk away unscathed. The woman finished her drink and stood up. The crowd parted as she walked toward the door, every pair of eyes following her with admiration and maybe a little fear. She paused at the entrance, glanced back at the room, and with a small, confident smile, stepped out into the cold Christmas night. Behind her, the bar slowly returned to life. The patrons resumed their conversations, but the energy was different now. The story of the woman who had stood her ground, who had shown strength without breaking a sweat, would be retold countless times. Outside, the snow was falling softly, and the woman disappeared into the night. Calm, composed, and unshaken, she carried on, leaving behind a lesson that no one in that bar would forget. This story serves as a powerful reminder of a few essential truths. First and foremost, respect is non-negotiable. No one deserves to be treated with arrogance or disrespect, no matter the setting. Second, appearances can be deceiving. The woman in this story may have seemed ordinary to the man, but her strength and training proved she was anything but. It's a humbling lesson for anyone who underestimates others based on surface impressions. You never know the battles someone has fought or the skills they carry with them. So, what do you take away from this story? Does it make you reconsider how you treat others or the assumptions you might make about people you meet? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more like it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more captivating stories your way. This story is a work of fiction, created solely for entertainment purposes. Any resemblance to real people, events, or places is purely coincidental. The intent is to share a compelling narrative, not to depict actual events. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.